which is also leads me to somewhere that I want to ask you, as someone who's been on Y Combinator and Wharton, and has been in that environment of other entrepreneurs and founders, did you see them as friends and network, or did also that competition versus them push you to go further?
Yeah, I think having been in places in what I call environments of excellence, I think you learn via osmosis, right? I think you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you surround yourself with success. You ultimately become success by virtue of being surrounded by those folks. When I was admitted to Wharton, this is back in the last recession. I was unfortunate that it was the toughest class ever to get in. I was fortunate that because it was the toughest class to get in, it attracted a lot of high caliber people. And then me. So I was fortunate to be surrounded with people that were way smarter than me. So I learned more from them than from the professors in my class. And the same held true for Y Combinator. So I just had the great opportunity and great fortune to be surrounded by the top 1% of whatever I was in. When I was a banker, I was surrounded by the top 1% of bankers. JP Morgan. Back in 2005, there was no Google or Facebook to go to. So if you were a top 1% of your class, you would go to an investment bank. And the same thing happened at Wharton. Same thing happened at Y Combinator. So I think I see them less as competition and less as collaborators, people that are going to push you up a little bit more. And those are relationships that I still have to this day.
Did you ever feel out of place as a foreigner coming from the outside? And because I came from Spain and lived a lot of years in the United States, and because of my accent and a few different things, sometimes I was looked differently. Did you ever feel that happened to you as well?
That's a great question. So at the beginning, I didn't, but that's only because I was too naive to understand.
Yeah, I think that happened to me too.
So at the beginning, I felt like, no, I'm just like everybody else. And the U.S. has its shortcomings, obviously. And I remember this story, this narrative. So one day, this is when I was in banking, we took a bus trip, our entire investment banking class, to a country club. And this was in Connecticut, very polished, very posh country club. And I was wearing a white shirt, black pants, no tie, just like every other analyst was. And I think I was so excited. I was one of the first ones to go check in my blazer. And the lady behind the counter says, "Yeah, they're waiting for you in table 5."
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, "What do you mean table 5? Like, you're waiting for table 5. Like, it's ready to be waited on." I'm like, "No, ma'am. I'm here with I'm here with JP Morgan. I'm one of the bankers."
Gotcha.
Like, oh, okay. And it was like, that's the moment that it dawned on me, like, because it's true. Like, I look more like the wait staff than, the bankers. And up until that moment, I didn't realize I was too naive to understand the differences. And my accent was way tougher, way worse than what it is today. So it took that kind of event to really dawn on me, like, look, you're different. You must behave differently. And you must really excel above everybody else because of that. So I took that to heart, and I really just excelled my performance. I just took it as a challenge, to really be head and shoulders above everybody else in my class. And I wound up being one of the top analysts that year. But yeah, it is different. You're not, anyone that tells you that not is too naive to understand the differences. You do look at the society today, right? It tells you very clearly there's a stark difference if you're not a traditional American. But again, it's the pros and the cons. The pros and the cons. That's the cons. And earlier I talked to you about the pros. And hopefully for people like you and I, the pros outweigh the cons in the long term.
Right. And I do see this over and over again. People that come from the outside who, I was raised by a single mom. I moved to America when I was 17 by myself to play college basketball. And it pushes us to go further, right? Because we see it as a challenge and makes us have to be 120% better than them to be considered 100%.
Exactly.
For sure.